this paperwork. I want everything to be just so for our first guest. So let me... All right. This out of the way. I believe we're ready. It's truly a pleasure to welcome my first guest to this program. He is currently co-starring with Clint Eastwood in a film called City Heat. Please welcome Burt Reynolds. Hi, Burt. Nice to meet you. How are you, sir? Good. Over there. Nice to see you. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
What do you think? The audience loves you. That makes you feel great, doesn't it?
It makes me feel wanted.
Yeah. How long ago did you actually live in New York City?
I lived here, I came here in 1957, 56. And I was here about 2 years, but I didn't live here. I just kind of existed on pigeons whenever I could grab one. Rip the head off one and just fed it. I lived with Rip Torn, which is a strange existence in its own right.
Yeah. Was this fun at all, or was it just overwhelmingly peculiar?
It was both, which has been the story of my life.
Yeah.
Overwhelmingly peculiar and fun. I was going to acting schools, which I got kicked out of, most of. I went to the...
Why would they kick you out of an acting school?
Because I couldn't act.
Oh.
Hey, ask a dumb question like that, you're going to get an answer like that. And then I went to Stella Adler. She was terrific. I liked her a lot. You just kind of sit on the floor and stare at her knees. And she praises you a lot.
Yeah.
But I never acted.
Yeah.
Then I finally ended up with Win Hanman, who was wonderful. He was very kind, and I was real shy in those days. And I was real shy in those days. And in my class, which is kind of astounding, really, was Carol Lawrence, who nobody knew, Red Buttons, Jan Murray, who was doing a treasure hunt show.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Wanted to be an actor.
Yeah.
And treasure girl, please. They'd say, that's not in the scene, Jim. And then, never mind. And Frank Gifford, who was playing for the Giants at the time, and was gorgeous.
Yeah.
I really resented that. Yeah. And I was just so shy, and we get these improvisational scenes going, and slowly I sort of came along, I guess. And that was the days of live television. And a friend of mine was doing a show called The Frontiers of Faith. You ever heard of that? No.
I have heard of that treasure hunt thing, though.
Well, that was because of the treasure girl. The Frontiers of Faith was a live show on Sunday morning. And this guy was the assistant producer on the show. And he said that they needed some guy to throw through a window. And because it was live, and they'd never throw anybody through a window because you wouldn't do that on Frontiers of Faith. No. But it was a story about a gangster who had, suddenly found God right after he threw the guy out about 12 stories. And they said, where are we going to find a guy? And I said, how much do you get for that? And they said, $150. And I said, hey, I'm your man. Yeah. And so I came down, but because it was live, you had to play the part of the guy, say a few lines, a few lines, and then out the window. And so I came in, and I was too dumb to be scared, and I did the part, and they threw me out the window, and got the 150, had my card, my after card, and as those things happened, this guy went right from there to Kraft Theater, and I went to did Kraft Theater and a lot of other shows, but I was, they always asked for, whenever they wanted to set someone on fire, Or say, we got a stair fall here, about a 70-foot stair fall. I said, get that Reynolds kid. This kid's got a brain about the size of a pea. But I was in there, I was really trying to act, you know?
Uh-huh.
And my mom, I used to call her, God bless her, I'd say, I'm on a show next week and you got to be sure and watch. And she said, how are you going to die? And I'd say, no, I'm telling you, I got a really great part. And I had a terrific part. It was one of those scenes, in fact, I was going right for the Emmy.
Mm-hmm.
It looked big for me.
Yeah.
And they set me on fire and they threw me out of a window. I land in an alley and they throw water on me and I'm dying. And the chief of the fire department comes up to this detective, and the detective says, did anybody live? And he says, he did. Now, we rehearsed, and a page and a half, you know, good stuff. You know, when you know, at the very end, when you go, really good stuff. So I saw it. There's no question about it. An Emmy for sure. So I called Mom. She had the whole neighborhood came over. And Paul Ford, who started acting very late in life, was rather nervous because it was live. You remember Paul Ford?
Paul Ford he was, among other things, he was on Sergeant Bilko, wasn't he?
That's right.
Yeah.
Sweet man, and looked a little bit like a frog. You know, he had a real funny little face.
Very likable, nice.
Lovely man. Well, he's standing there, and they set me on fire, put the glue on my back, and lit me up, threw me out the window, crashed down in the alley, doused the water on me. The detective walks up to Paul Ford and says, anybody live? And he looks over at me and says, nope.
Nope, nobody made it. We have to do a commercial here. We'll be right back with Burt Reynolds, folks. Come on back. Thank you, folks. So how much more of this did you take before you headed west?
I headed west right soon after that.
Mm-hmm. Did you have a deal to go out? Did somebody say you'd be great for the film, come on out, or did you just pack up and go out on your own?
I tested for a film called But Not For Me with Clark Gable. Mm-hmm. And
this is a huge break for you then, at that time. If you get this part, you're in...
a huge test.
A huge test.
Not a break. I flew out to California with George Maharis, and he and I and another guy tested, and we walked in, and I saw Clark Gable. Wow. I mean, he was gorgeous. Dogs, women, men, everybody looked at this guy and said, woof. And so we were standing in this big room, and in those days, you watched the other people test. You know, you didn't go out. I guess you could walk outside, but we all watched. And George did his test with Clark, and Gable said, you duck it? And George said, what? You duck it. You know, you duck it. And George said, I'm a New Yorker, you know, I'm a duck hunt, yeah. So I thought to myself, if he asks me that, I'm going to come up with a clever answer, and, you know, yeah, I'll be in. See? That's the way my mind worked at the age of 22. So I went up to test next. Meanwhile, the guy that was sitting next to me was so good-looking. I mean, it was real scary. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to, you know, hit him in the face with a monkey wrench or something. But I got up, and I'm standing next to Mr. Gable, who was really something. And he said, well, you know, it was 4 minutes of conversation. He said, right on cue, you duck hunt? And I said, I can't shoot anything since I saw Bambi. and Mr. Gable went, so, we did that scene. I came back, and the other guy went up, and he said to this other guy, Mr. Gorgeous, you duck hunt? And this guy says, I got it over and under. It's, I don't know what, it's Smith & Wesson, I think. I like to shoot duck and geese mostly, but I usually get doubles. And I turned to George and I said, George, we are on our way back to New York. And that guy got the part.
Yeah.
And that guy today is Mr. Goodwrench. Which is all right, because he's still gorgeous.
Yeah, and still, and the work. But do you suppose he ever actually went duck hunting with this guy?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah, I guess.
I would have.
Sure.
Listen, man, I would have dug for whatever he said he dug for. And then about that time, I decided that I would make my move out to California.
Yeah. So you stayed out there. What year was this? Do you remember offhand?
Yeah, I went out in '57 or '58, and I sort of bounced around and didn't do too well. But I met a little starlet.
Yeah. Now that's what I was going to ask you about. Do you remember your first? I don't know how to put this exactly. But you're out there and you're dating.
My first actual physical encounter with a starlet. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. Now is this a starlet or a movie star? There's a difference, isn't there?
This girl was a. Well, yeah, there is.
Now give us the breakdown. Movie star, starlet. How does that work?
I'll give you the breakdown.
All right. The movie star's duck hunt, I guess.
Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Taylor is a movie star.
Yeah.
A starlet is, if one bad performance, she's on her way to Pomona.
That's a starlet.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she's real pretty, and very visible, and built like the Trump Tower.
And on her way, hopefully, if everything goes right.
Everything goes right.
Okay.
But everybody knew this girl because she had a T-bird decorated with chicken feathers.
Oh, that's nice.
She had kind of a low-key profile, this girl. Anyway, I went out with her, and everybody knew her, and everybody who I knew in college knew her. And I went out with her, and I got lucky, as the saying goes.
Yeah.
And I remember driving home, and I've often wondered if people do this today when they, if some young lady and I were to, have a lingering kiss, you know? I stopped at a red light. I'm just going to say one bad word, but it's not a real bad word. I said, I'm a movie star!
We'll be right back after station identification. I thought that was thoughtful of you to warn me. Program, Herbie Hancock will be here. Also, tomorrow, actress Mary Lou Henner. You know Mary Lou Henner. You were in a film with her. 2 films.
Oh, yes.
3 films. 2 films.
Yes.
She's a very nice woman.
She's a sensational woman.
And I might add, the best-smelling guest we've ever had.
I noticed that, too.
She smells unbelievable. Also, tomorrow, we have this man on because Mary Lou asked for him, Kamar the Magician. That'll be tomorrow.
Oh.
Kamar the Magician. That's tomorrow.
I wonder what the connection is there.
Well, I think they're working together now.
Oh.
Now tell me about, speaking of working, tell me about working with Clint Eastwood. Now what is this like? Is this fun? Is he tough? Is he nasty? A nice guy? Can you joke around with this guy?
He's a barrel of laughs. I tell you. No, I've known Clint for 25 years, and we were fired the very same day from Universal 25 years ago.
Fired from what and how? How did they?
From the studio. They called us both in this office, and this guy said to Clint, your Adam's apple sticks out way too far, and you've got a chipped tooth, you've got little squinty eyes, and you talk too slow. And I said, what's the matter with me? And he said, you can't act. So,
yeah.
They've been telling me, and I'm still here.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, we got up and we walked down the street, which was a long street at Universal, and Clint, who only says about 25 words a year anyway, didn't say anything. And I said, Clint, you're in big trouble. He said, why is that? I said, because I can learn how to act, but you're never going to get rid of that damn Adams act. Anyway, he went on to make Mini Mill and come back at Universal, and that guy who fired us is now spinning in a grave somewhere.
Yeah.
He was just terrific to me. I adored him before I did the film, but now after working with him, I like him even more. Before we started to do the film, I said, let's do a film where we don't say one, bad word, no four-letter words. And he said, great. And so we did.
Yeah.
The whole picture.
Now, I got to clarify something, because I saw the film, and there are a couple in there.
But never the S word or the F word.
Or the word you said earlier tonight on,
yes.
on the show.
Yes, but you and I didn't have an agreement before the show.
Right, that's right. We...
And the picture would have a G rating, except for the fact that Clint kills and maims and strangles 147 people. And it really was fun to make. It was the most fun I've had ever making a picture, and he's such a sweet guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I just love the guy.
It's it has a good look to the film. It's a very nice. It's a period. They call these period pieces, don't they?
Period pieces.
Yeah, but it has you successfully captured the flavor of the period.
Yes, the 1920s and
yeah.
the jazz period, which I love anyway. That's why I love the fact you got Herbie Hancock, and I mean, I'm a jazz freak. Also, I like cars with feathers on them.
Now this woman, but just for a second, this woman now, the starlet, did she go on to be a star, a movie star?
Yeah.
Now what was her name?
Yeah.
What would give us a picture that she was in that we, maybe two or three women in that we,
because I hate guys that do that. There's nothing more slimy. I hate those kind of books that come out and say, I went to bed with Warren Beatty and he gets a 10, and I hate that kind of stuff. I mean, if a woman or a man give themselves to each other in a loving way, in a nice way, I think that's something very.
Well, it sounds like it was a loving relationship. Based on you and Cahuenga screaming.
Well, when at the time I thought I was in ecstasy.
Yeah.
So it was, and it was a loving way.
Give us a little hint. I know it stinks. I know it's ugly. Give us a little hint.
I'll give you a little hint.
All right.
She was in a movie that had a lot of underwater sequences.
I know who this is. I know. I have it. I know. Okay, that's good. That's helpful information. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. You can go back to your home now, and no further questioning.
It's not John Hall.
This is exciting, though.
Huh?
I'm excited about that.
You'll be calling me from time to time just to check
Just
to see if you're right?
Yeah, updates.
Sure.
We want to look at some footage here from the movie City Heat with Burt Reynolds and Clint Eastwood. You want to tell the folks what we're going to see?
Yeah, this is the very first scene in the picture, and I play a private detective, and he plays a cop. We were cops together, and then I decided to become a gumshoe, and he doesn't like me too much. And so I get in trouble, and he does his usual silent thing. He drinks coffee and watches me get killed.
All right. From the film City Heat, it's all over the country now, isn't it? Coming soon. At theaters near you right
where
now.
Eddie Murphy is.
Louis. Coffee? Yeah. Hey. So we left the cage door open, huh? Archie, how you doing? Good. A couple of cupcakes. Is this what you want to do? Lieutenant, aren't you going to do anything? Down about a refill. You can take care of yourself. I'm not disturbing you, am I? I got a situation here. You back?
City Heat. Well, I'm sure that'll do very well for both you and Mr. Eastwood.
Thank you.
You guys own part of that, don't you? I saw the credits. It was you and him have something you own in addition to...
We produced it. The
Yeah.
two of us produced it.
Yeah, that means huge show business dollars
Yeah.
for you and...
No, it means that...
You have a restaurant. You also have a restaurant.
I have a restaurant, that's true. But the deal was structured in such a way that I don't get quite as much as Clint.
Yeah. No. Let me ask you, we're running out of time. Let me just ask you one thing about this restaurant, because a lot of time guys will sell their name to a restaurant and they open it up and they don't know anything about it.
Really?
We have a menu. Where is your restaurant?
My restaurant is in Fort Lauderdale. It's in a most beautiful spot.
Burt and Jack's.
Burt and Jack's.
Here's a menu, a current menu. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about the menu. What appetizers?
Huh?
Appetizers.
Appetizers.
What
well,
does
you
these...
know you're going to have some stuff out of the sea.
All right, let me know. Let me ask you the. Let me ask you. Let me ask you
Have
the.
your shrimp?
Let me ask you the price of the stuffed jumbo clam.
Sometimes we like to lower that price right down to the bottom, and then sometimes we like to jack that baby right up on the weekend.
So
but
it
I
just
would guess
depends
it
on
would
what
be
you're-
somewhere between $6 and $2.
That's right. It's just dead center. $3.95 for
Can
the
we
stuffed
quit now?
jumbo clam. Let's try just one more.
Oh. What?
Desserts? I don't see desserts on here. No.
Nah.
Let me. One more here. Fresh vegetables. The category is fresh vegetables, Burt, for 50.
Uh-huh.
Sauteed mushrooms. You've never eaten this in your life. Sauteed mushrooms and pea pods.
I haven't ever eaten them. But isn't it interesting that they serve it separately, right? And has a price all its own.
That's right.
Well, you get a little portion of peas and
Pea
sauteed
pods,
onions,
sauteed mushrooms.
pea pods. I would say somewhere between the price of $4 and something else. I would say $4 or over.
Oh, Burt, this is a bargain. Ladies and gentlemen, when you go down there...
$1.50.
No. Here's what you load up on, these sauteed mushrooms and pea pods.
Son of a gun.
Put them in your pocket, $2.75. Burt, thank you very much for your time. Nice to meet you. Come back anytime. We'll be right back with Herbie Hancock, folks.